when in my early years up until my teens, I would do various things. I would do uh, constructions and oil paintings and all kinds of stuff. And when I'd ask my mother, what do you think? She would say, "That's nice." You know, everything was that's nice. And so for me, psychologically, I just interpret that it's not good enough and I better go on to something else. And I kept on switching to different things. So over the years, I I did uh, as I said, oil painting. I did modeling in clay and structures like that. I did neon sculpture. I did jewelry making, and I knitted for a short period of time. And so, if you could envision me in jeans on the New Haven Railroad, sitting there knitting with three other guys, uh, uh, reading the Wall Street Journal and the New York Times, that was a trip. So, um, uh, I, uh, I, I, I was in a program for 2 days that my parents put me into to get personality testing when I was 17. And the head of the school came in and said, you have the highest level for spatial relations that anyone else has gotten over the years. And I said, well, what does that do? What can I do with that? Well, you could go into architecture or sculpture or things, that have spatial quality to them. So I went to NYU for 2.5 years as a pre-dent student, of course. Uh, why? Uh, but uh, after 2.5 years, the professor said to me, listen, Wayne, I don't think you should continue this program anymore. Um, and so I took what I thought was a portfolio to the Parsons School of Design, and the dean looked at the portfolio and said, "This is not a portfolio." And I went to, and he said, "Come back after you could be able to do some perspective sketches and art and show me some other things in 6 weeks." So I went to the public library and I took out books on how to do perspective drawing and things like that. And I was accepted for the fall semester, and then I got scholarships. I
Right.
went on in an interior design program, and I went on for 38 years in my own business in New York City doing commercial interiors, stores, showrooms, offices, mostly places like that. Um, in the early 90s, I went to Yeshiva University and got a master's degree in social work and started to practice um, psychotherapy as part of uh, my interior. I did it in conjunction with my interior business. In 2013, I stopped all of that and just focused on uh, psychotherapy, and that's what I've been doing till today. But in the 70s, I had a girlfriend who uh, who had an art consulting business, and I showed some of my photography and sold to Bendix Corporation and to Ross and other companies. And then when we broke up, nothing else happened with my photography after that. And I had Nikon equipment at that particular point. So in 2013, I entered an alumni contest for photography, and there must have been like several hundred entries, and I came in third. I said, well, maybe I should really go back and do photography again. So that's what led me until this particular moment of I continue and I joined the camera club, uh, this camera club. So what, and the other thing is that as part of the presentation is talk about seeing. So for me, I went to the office at 7 o'clock in the morning, coming from Westchester into New York City, opened the office up, and I did what most people did, which was racing from one thing to the other, because that's New York business life. And I decided in 2013 is that people need to slow down. They need to look at things that they see in everyday life, whether or not it's looking in a store window on Fifth Avenue or a fire hydrant that looks interesting and different. Uh, and I started that whole process of, of looking at things different. Of course, I came from the background of the structure of the, elements of interior design uh, and my spatial relations background. But I think the most important thing was how I see. And that's what I really want to convey that, there are people that, in the camera club, they love birds, they love landscapes, they love, separate. Each one is a separate element and that's their focus and they almost don't do anything else. And I really think it's really important that uh, and abstractions and things like that, even people that only do abstractions, is to break that mold and walk a different path, to bring back to the element of, let's say, birds, something that you saw or felt in something else that you saw out there, and to integrate it with what your main focus is. Or you may decide that there's beauty in other things, is just to expand that and not be stuck in a one particular way. So that's what, you're going to see a lot of that today as to where I'm coming from. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm gonna share, but before because I have two screens, let me see if I could do that. Can you see that?
Yes. Well, no.
No,
No. We're still seeing each other. at this-
yeah. Can see your screen.
There you go. Here it's coming.
Yep.
Now we got it.
Okay,
Mhm.
Everybody agree?
Yep.
okay, so I'm gonna do a quick run through of your, just look at, if you look at the lower, can you see the lower band?
Mhm.
Strongly?
Yep.
Okay, they have numbers attached to them. So there's like, I don't know, 88 photos here. So I'd like you to look at a couple, choose from this group as I sort of scroll through it. Um, any of them, and you choose a couple of them so that I can show you how I developed that or how that came to be. Okay?
I'm gonna
Uh,
say 8.
No, I mean, you need to write it down for yourself and then you
Oh,
can,
I see. Okay, okay.
I want to, yeah, I'll do it this way if it's more helpful. Okay?
But now we don't see those numbers. What we see is the file names. But that works.
No, go to the band. I think that will be easier.
Yes?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to move through this.
What, were we supposed to say something?
We'll just write it down.
Now you're supposed to be writing down above each of the photos, there's a number. And, I'm going to try and take some of the ones of interest and show you how I constructed that or where that came from.
My computer screen is very tiny, so I'm not really seeing.
Yeah, they're a little small, but it looks like when you scroll along the strip, one of them shows up larger on the top.
Yeah.
So maybe you can go to the beginning and then move it, count out the numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4 as you go through.
Hmm.
I mean, I don't know.
Want me to start?
I'm fine.
Okay.
Okay. So that's one. That's two,
Mhm.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You see the up at the top, yeah, on the left.
On the left,
Yeah.
yeah.
9, 10, 11, those are together. 13 and 14 are similar. 15. 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, and 43 are together. 44, 45, whoops, I'm sorry. That's okay. 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 7, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, and 75 are together. 76, 77, 78, 79, 80. And this whole series is together. 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, and 85 are together. Okay. And Monica, you asked for this, so this group.
Okay.
86 and 87 are together. And then there's 88. So that's the whole scenario.
Okay.
So since Monica, you asked specifically for it, I'll start with that, all right?
Okay.
So Michael and I, Washburn went to the Armonk art and craft show, and in the rain, which was not fun. But seeing, there were some interesting things to see. And so this was the shot, okay? And I took it with my iPhone, I said, I don't know what I'm going to do with this yet.
What is it? What is
It's it's actually a bowl.
Hmm.
Okay.
it? Okay.
This particular artist was amazing because these are pieces of metal that are, I don't know how he does it, but, uh, you know, they're within the casting of this, uh, he's created this art. And we both spent some time here talking to him because it was fascinating. Um,
It's glass, isn't it, with the metal in it?
yeah, thank you for that. So I'm going to develop now, okay? Because let's see. Yeah. All right. So, okay, so over here, so importing it into developing in Lightroom,
Mhm.
um, I started to reshape it, rotate it, change the scale, and move it around until I cropped it to something that I wanted to work with. Um, just one second. Okay. And then I went to Vignette in Lightroom and I pushed that all the way over to the right. Uh, and I was able to, uh,
Mhm.
whoops, let me get back to that.
So Wayne, once you got here, did you know what you wanted to do?
One second. Um, Not yet, because what I was doing was playing around with uh, different types of uh, in the vignetting itself. Um, let's see if I could show it. In other words, what you see here uh, in um, the map in this part, okay, in the mask area,
Mhm.
I used radial gradient areas to create the various circles. Okay.
Yeah.
And you'll be able to see it if these are vignette feathers I've gone through, cloning out spots that were annoying to me. Uh, it's slow in the uptake. Okay. And then I used black to come up at 100%. So it intensified the black surfaces, and then clarifying and cropping the rectangle. Okay. And uh, and then in the second phase of this, one second, I went back to it again, and I started to play around, so you can see a little bit of coloration difference happening. Because I use the radial gradient for this.
But where did you get the color?
The color came from in the
Color?
either in
Oh,
the
okay.
sense or in this area.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Yeah, so there.
Good.
So, Wayne, what does the radial gradient do? I'm not clear what's
Okay.
happening.
All right.
So you create a mask and then what?
Okay. Okay. Now you can see the radial gradient. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so you can manipulate this well, I could sort of show you. You, once you put the radial gradient on there, it's sort of like a small area, and then you can keep on increasing that. You can move it over to create different effects if you want it, or you can put it, you know, like an exact area that you want. But you could also control the width and length so it matches up with whatever surface that you're working on, like that, you see. So that's the radial gradient. It's one of, in this creating new mask, you see there's a lineal gradient, there's a radial gradient.
So how do you add the color to that, Wayne?
No, what that's showing right now is
That's the mask.
That's the
yeah.
mask.
right. Okay, so now, whoops. What did I do here? Did I go out of it?
You're not in the mask anymore.
Oh, here it is.
Yeah, it's at the bottom. Yeah. You are doing the shape there.
Oh, I changed the in the process, I just changed it. Okay, so let's do it. All right. I'm not sure what I did, but let's try it. It wasn't there, it was here. Okay, so that gives you the idea of how you can control it, right?
Okay,
Uh, and then you can also change it.
How do you decide which one you like?
Trial and error.
I tend to gravitate more to the cooler uh, cooler tones than the warm tones, like, you know, orange and yellows. They're not as favorite. but I do like reds and purples and things like that. So I think I used something in that range when I did it. I'll have to go back and check later on.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's how I basically, that's the format that I use.
Hmm.
To read that. So as you can see here, there are bands of um, the word for it.
Turn it off.
Here we come down to this. Yeah.
But now the bowl
Okay.
is yeah. Excuse me.
Vignetting, that's what I wanted to say. There are bands that I can create in vignetting. Okay. That changed the tones here.
So what did you do in the vignetting segment?
I did it in different. It's somewhere within one of these that I played around with changing the layers. In other words.
So did you make multiple radial gradients and each with a different size and then do different tones in each of those?
Yeah, tried to do that. Mhm.
And how do you center your radial gradient? Because it looks like it's asymmetric. In other words, the striated section is down and to the left from where you chose, but it looks like what you did choose is more congruent with the white part of the bowl.
Um,
Was it taken at an angle, sort of?
yes, it was taken in.
Yeah.
But for for the coloration thing, I honed in on, of course, on the area that I wanted. I don't know. I think I threw the whole thing off when I was playing around with it. So rather than spending a lot more time, I hope that you got something from this. Okay.
So you saw you saw the original, and your sense was that what you wanted to do was isolate it.
And then I went with the abstraction of using it as a circular element,
Right.
and focused in on the layers of movement around that circle, even though it was asymmetrical, because I didn't shoot directly down into it.
Right. Well, I think the asymmetry is a little bit more interesting, actually.
Yeah,
Definitely.
yeah.
So then you leave it like this, or did you crop away the lighter white part around it?
No, I left the white part is part of it. I didn't want a strong change from the object itself, because of course I could go to black, and that kind of thing.
I can see on number 85, you went to a black background.
That's something else. That's another image.
No, I know, but I mean, I'm saying you went from the 84 to 85 as,
Yeah. That's why I put that there. So, okay.
So
And
when
yeah, go ahead.
the blue and then how did you get the kind of grayish blue, kind of the next band? Is that from vignetting or is that from different radial gradient with a different color?
Yeah. So in other words, at first it was gray tone,
Uh-huh.
and then I did another, circle or whatever it is for the,
Okay.
when I lightened it, And then in this one, it was vignetted for the outside perimeter.
Mhm.
So you can control it that way. I hope I'll be able to get back to what I had as the original.
Okay, okay. Nice.
But anyway,
Thank you.
so from your group of numbers, choose another one. I'll find it. Somebody.
70.
Okay. So that's the finished product. I went with MJ to the Hammond Museum some years ago, and there was an exhibition there of it was a what's the word for it? The backgrounds, it was a combination in the photograph or whatever it is that was done. And it was framed with glass. And what happened was I was able to see something interesting in that. So this is what it looked like. Okay.
That's a reflection?
That's the reflection in the glass.
Right.
And I said, that looks interesting. I can do something with this. And retain, the rest of what was there. And so I went through the process of, of course, going through cropping and contrast and highlighting and clipping, well, white clipping is kind of texture, and I don't know if this is, yeah, it's starting to come up. And so I'm updating the clarity. I went to a brush.
And the masking.
Yeah. And then I some healing things, certain things that I didn't want there and within the framework.
What did you do with add background?
Let's see what happens with that. I think I just intensified it. Let's see.
Okay.
Yeah, I think within the, let's see if it comes up.
Okay.
Exposure. There. Okay. So when I went to sharpening in Lightroom, I was able to, it sort of brought, I don't know why, but it brought the tones out more in the radius, sharpen radius. And I did that in the masking. But let me just see if one thing here. Yeah. I forget what it's called again. What's the I guess the software or the I can't.
Yeah.
I can't do it with my particular.
Yeah, they have updated the software, so.
Yeah. But anyway, that's
Is that also an iPhone photo?
this one. Yes.
No.
I think it was.
Mhm.
And, that's the way it came out, but I would think right now, I feel that for me, it's like too dark. I want to, increase the, exposure slightly, not that much,
Okay.
more.
Can I ask you a non-technical question about this?
Mhm.
Um, and that is, what made you interested in taking this picture and working with it?
I think what I said was, in other words, what I saw was that uh, uh, I said that the art was interesting, but what it made it more interesting was seeing the doorway in the background. And that's what interests me in bringing it to light within the context of the other person's art.
Okay, yeah,
Okay, so someone give me another number, we can go to that.
41 or 42.
Okay, I had gone to the, what do you call it? The St. Petersburg Glass Museum, which is something, if you ever go out to California in St. Petersburg, is to go to that museum. It is an incredible visual delight for uh, artwork in glass. And so I looked at this and I said, this is so fantastic. I love it. Um, and let's see what the original. Okay, that was the original, right? So I went through the process, of cropping it and moving it so that the exposure, the texture, um, I don't think I had to do a lot to this, okay? It was more in the composition. Um, okay, and this was taken with my iPhone. And then I brought it to 43. Um,
Ah,
and in 43, I had intensified the colorations. And I also wanted to get rid of this.
yeah, the window
See
Mm.
it?
and the adjacent piece of glass.
So there wasn't really a lot that I did to this. All right. That's basically it.
Mm.
Let's have another number.
Nobody?
33.
Okay.
33.
You said
Not that one, next one.
33?
Yeah. Mm.
Ah,
Okay, this was at the Whitney. And so what fascinated me was the darkness and the elements, the shooting planes of seating for this vertical element. I was with a group of family, and so I couldn't really spend that much time to really compose it exactly the way I wanted or play around with the lighting of it, you know, the apertures and stuff. So I just put it into Lightroom and played around with it. Changed the clarity. And
Mm. Okay.
yeah, so again, you know, this particular one, there's not that much
Mhm.
change. But as you can see, it's I made it more vertical. It was tilted a lot. And these side, or at least this particular side wall grouping, came more into light within the exposures
Yeah.
and the seating, so that it became a little bit more dynamic as an image.
Yep. Did you make these changes in the phone or in Lightroom? Or
this
Lightroom on the phone?
Okay, this one looked like I did it in Lightroom on my phone, which is challenging.
Looks pretty good.
Yeah.
Another number, unless someone wants to talk about it further.
23.
Ah, Still Life with Sugar.
Mhm.
So this was a window on Fifth Avenue. Um, Fifth Avenue? I think so. Um, mm, I'm not sure. It'll come to me in a moment. But anyway, what they are, no, actually it was in Grand Central Station. There was that shop that had all kinds of crazy things in it before they renovated that whole other side.
Oh, yeah.
And so these were little purses.
Oh.
And so I said, hey, that's pretty fascinating. So I took the picture, you know, played around with the spot uh, before I got to my computer's acting very slowly. I'm bringing up the clarity of those images because they're sharper now. I added more black to it. Changed the exposure slightly, added more black. Um, okay. So
Wayne, what did you do with the brush, or what was the brush? That was for,
the
Oh.
brush, what I wanted to do is to take out all the surrounding area.
oh,
Um,
There you go.
yeah, so that got into its final stage. And then I played around with just updating some of it. So I guess it's hard to see. It was little innuendos within that context. Yeah. And that was the finished product out of it.
Mhm.
So what my suggestion is that over on the right-hand side, there's so many things that you could do between the masking, the vignetting, the the use of texture and clarifying the vibrance, the exposures, all this stuff, just play around, go from left to right and just play with those parts of it because they're amazing things you can get out of moving those sliders. Give me another number.
26?
This was also at this was at a glass craft shop.
Wow.
Okay.
That would have been nice if you had just gotten rid of the stuff on the bottom only.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
So there's really not too much,
Mhm.
involved with this. I played around with exposures and intensity and some adjustments, but then I just wanted to focus on the element itself. But I did keep some of that.
Mm.
beautiful.
Not very much on this.
What did you do with the 30?
What is that? It's like,
Looks like
I'm trying to remember whether or not there was another level to this, before I started to utilize this. I think it was shooting through a glass window,
Ah,
so I was getting that hard, image.
huh.
Yeah, I'm sorry because there was another rendition of this before that. And that's what happened. Sometimes when I put some of these things through, what do you call it? The topaz too.
yeah.
It changes to TIFF and I lose everything that I've done from Lightroom.
One tip, if you don't want that to happen, is make a copy of the original.
I just thought of it just now as you were saying it.
Yeah.
So thank you for giving that to me.
Otherwise, you lose everything.
I'm sorry about that. That I can't show you that other
Yeah.
part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the important thing was when you said that you shot it through a window, now I see what the effect is.
Yeah.
And I can see what you saw.
Okay. Give me another number, just, going that route.
23?
I think we did that.
Yes, that was the.
Yeah, we did the 23.
No,
First number I wrote down was 8.
Okay. Um,
Oh, okay.
okay, so I believe it came from here first.
From
Oh,
where? Isn't that the Natural History Museum?
Yeah.
Which is a wonderful place to for shapes. It's really magnificent. So I went from importing it, which was that shot, with a little cropping to that. And then I said, well, I really like this portion of it. Let me bring that into focus. Nope, this is another area. Sorry. This is another area of the museum. I photographed that. And then worked with cropping. I have, okay, I have a feeling this is the same thing again.
Yeah.
Uh, it was another level, so let's move on. Sorry.
No, it's great. Yeah, so what's interesting to me about that is I would have sworn you did a lot of work, on the image that's beyond the opening. And it looks like you didn't. It was just, that's just how it was. Fascinating.
yeah, that is the art of seeing. He sees it.
And I'm not really bringing that into the element when you're asking about it. I should tell you why I took some of these. So
Yeah.
give me another one out. Do it for me.
Wayne, I'm curious, you've taken, let's see, 4, 5, 6, and 7 are all flowers. Now, lots of people take flowers. What's your approach that's your own way of thinking about it?
Okay, usually is first, do I love it?
Mhm.
Do I love it for its uh what the color is, what the shape is, how the light is on it. And then I would draw it from its background. I don't know why it's taking so long. And so I think this was at, I'd have to see what. Yeah.
Uh.
So this was at the Bayard sanctuary thing on Long Island. And so when I imported it, this was it.
Oh,
So there are elements in here that I felt much too much competition. So I started to crop out some of these, at least to get to a certain shape and really focus on that image. But I like the tendril section of it as well. And I like the way the changing of light on the surfaces. And the fact that it was variegated. It wasn't an exact, flower circle or something like that. So let's see if I could show you some stuff. Like with healing, I probably wanted to get out, this, which I'm sure I did ultimately. It's taking a while to. I have no idea why it's not.
Yeah,
You can actually see what you
yeah,
have in mind in the little window on the left.
right,
It's just taking a long time to render the preview.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So ultimately, I was able to, I think I used the mask for, yeah, see? I did.
There you go.
Yeah.
So I was able to get that to a darkened level.
Mhm.
That's all, the simplicity of it. Another number.
$17.
Hmm. Okay. So that was what I imported.
Ah,
Again, it's like seeing the multiple layers. And this was, I think it might have been at uh, uh, the museum that's on Fifth Avenue that has Art and Design Museum, I think. um, so what interested me was the layers and also the layers on the surface. And I said, there'll be something I'm going to be able to do with this. I don't know what it's going to be. So I took that back and, started to crop it, change a little bit of the exposure, didn't mean anything really, you know. It's showing up on the smaller, So let's go back to this. Behaves. Crop. So I'm using the vignette for this because I said, I think I want to do a circular focus on this. And then I crop it. And within the cropping, you can move the image over so that, I mean, the vignette over so that I placed it where I wanted to on the surface. But I'm sort of a purist in some way. I don't want to take out a piece of the triangle. So I kept on working with that. I'm sure at some point I saw it and needed to move that over.
I didn't realize you could move a vignette.
Yes, you can. As long as the overall image that you're using is is wider than what you've, you know, what's finite.
I'll have to go in and learn how to do that. Thank you.
So as you can see, the top of the triangle is there. So now I need to move it slightly over so that I can get rid of that left-hand light. Cool. Well, I played around it. Okay, not yet. So there it was in its finite.
Mhm.
Then I
There's a tent.
I used the tent. And it was a little harsh, so I started to work to play around with it. More than I like, you know,
Mhm.
on the tinting. And then the temperature. And we're back to this again. Slow.
So, I don't think I could have played around, I could have done the vignette and so on, but I don't know that I could see the the architecture of it in a, you know, your graphic design sensibility.
Mhm.
It's very, no, really, it has a very strong design
Right.
component to it, and I'm not sure.
I know, but what I guess what I wanted to, for me, it's an evolving, it's not, I have vision, right, when I'm starting in a lot of the images. I mean, certain ones, of course, okay, because it's obvious. But in like this one, I had no clue what I was going to do. Um, it it just, and I sort of, I,
Really interesting how you changed the color and that triangle thing
yeah, that
popped out instead of receded. It's really.
Yeah,
this this doesn't look right to me, you know,
it
because
moved again. Yeah.
I wouldn't have left that and I wouldn't have gotten rid of the triangle. So something changed in the process here. But you got the idea on it anyway.
Yeah,
And I think it's more,
really cool.
I think I would gravitate more to this, you know.
Yeah.
Love it.
Mm.
So choose another one.
Yeah, but again, I don't know that I would have left it as pale. I probably would have gone too far. With the green and the purple.
Well,
Yeah.
you know, too far is a subjective.
Yeah.
No, I know, but I mean, I think this is right, and I probably would have pushed it too far.
I'll show you this image because this was interesting. I put this in one of the recent camera club uh, competitions, and I was with Michael that day. And let's go to the original. Wow. The computer's saying it's too fast. Okay, so the original is what you see. There. Yeah. Took it from the vessel. And I cropped out this and some of the foreground and some of the sky. Okay. And then okay, so that was the import before I cropped it. It's bright. Okay, it's too bright. This I use my Sony for with mirrorless camera. So I'm still playing around slightly with the cropping of it. But what was interesting in going through this, let's see if I can do it. I took out certain little spots and little things that were in here. Anyways, we'll get to it. But as part, so what was interesting is that the judge said, I really like this image, but I would have cut it here. And so it's finally, it processed to this level from some of these that I would have wanted to show you, because there's texture and clarity and then the haze that, it just made it more a stronger image. But that was what he said or she said, I don't know. And what I missed, why I missed, I don't know, are all these little spots. And I got downgraded for that. Of course, I don't know what my vision was. I didn't see it, but I should have. So it's like, I like this part of the image, which works with these lines to draw me into the rest of the frame. Now, if I went ahead and did what Jeff said, I don't know why it's it changed the angle. Okay, so let me just work that. look, I see the value in this. In this image as well. It's different. You know, I could say in some ways it's stronger, you know, because it's just the perspective line that's drawing you, you know, toward the outside into the river and across the river. But I made a choice. I saw both of them when I took it, you know, but I decided on the other.
It's interesting, because we were there together, I took the same picture and I also included that building in the middle.
Hmm.
I didn't get it as clear and I mean, mine was a mess, but I did decide to include that building for balance.
I just liked it, you know. You know, it could be also cut along here and not have any of that.
Yeah, I feel like the interesting part is the trains, and I probably would have tried to isolate them.
Mhm. Here's
Yeah.
another. Here's another.
Yeah.
So I'll just, while you're thinking about it, see, I'll look at on the floor and I'll see this electrical outlet, and I'll stop and I'll look at it. And,
Yeah.
and I'll say, uh, I like that. You know, that that's interesting for me. And basically, there's not that much that I have to do with it. You know, I started with changing the exposure, uh, you know, to its final, and then its final state. I just framed it like that, T shape, and took it. Not
Yeah.
much.
When
Yeah.
on your history, I see the last thing is always from Lightroom Mobile.
Yeah.
Why is that? I'm just wondering. The last thing always,
Uh,
at least on the top, of your, yeah.
it may have. I probably did it in Lightroom.
On
On
the
my,
phone?
yeah.
Almost all of your pictures you have shown, the last one is from LR Mobile.
Yeah, I've never used that. Can you do?
This one is the scene from the vessel was done with the Sony.
But when you use the Lightroom mobile, does that let you do the masking and all that stuff?
Yeah,
Uh,
it does.
I wouldn't try it to do all of that on my phone. I just wouldn't do it. I need a larger window to look at.
Yeah.
But some simple things like I got this. This is what I want. You know, I could just do some. You know, a little bit of vertical, horizontal. You know, reframing. Change uh, the sharpness and the add some darkness to it, that kind of stuff.
Mm.
Let's
I like,
choose.
I like the light, I like the textures. Yeah.
What about 62? Maybe you have already addressed it. 62, I don't remember what is 62.
That was a Saks window, I think.
Uh,
Hmm.
okay.
I should have closed some of the things I had open. But all right, let's go back and see what I have. Okay, so this is what I imported. So, Alan, just so that you know, is like when Annette takes pictures with the reflections within the windows of shop windows and things like that. There's some really, she does some really interesting things. But for me, I find a lot of it too complicated. I need to, for my sensibility, I need to focus more on elements
Well,
than the entire framework of it,
the problem, can you hear me?
of course.
Yeah, the problem with reflections, and it's a very difficult problem, is focus, because the depth of field is usually it's fatal. Some things are in focus, some things are not in focus, and to get it the way you want it, you have to do a lot of manipulation, and sometimes she just has a lot of out of focus stuff. I don't know why she goes with it, but reflections can be lethal.
Yeah, but it's no reflection on her, her art, just I in other words, I could not put this in and, let's say, take her out, take these couple of people out and just put this image in. It for me, I couldn't do it. I need to change it so that it's the graphic composition that I ultimately want to see. So I would be taking out all of these things, all this lighting, everything that sort of surrounds it, and make it totally this as the image.
Yeah, I would do the same thing. I work the same way. I take everything out, strip it down.
And even more than I can. Okay. Which is something, I wish I had under my belt to be able to do. I can't do composites. I just rarely go to Photoshop at all. So here it is. I'll show you the play around with all these different and some I could spend really inordinate amount of time working on. It's a lot of spot removals. Let's see where I am with that. Okay, so I'm down to this now, and then exposure, contrast, and up the clarity. And I guess that's the fun, right? Let's see. Nope. What is it doing?
Yeah, it was a different.
That's interesting, though.
I don't know what happened. Oh my God.
It's there somewhere.
In cyberspace.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm upset. Okay, anyway, you know what the other will look like. I don't know.
It's like your mind took over and your hand went to sleep.
What about 76?
1 second. 36?
76. 76. Maybe some of you already did. 76.
Yeah.
Ah.
Mhm.
I would, um, I don't know, I don't know where,
It started.
So this is a topaz.
I may have started with this. This may have been at the show that, at the Armont show that we went to. I shot that. And then I went through, working, I did some vignetting, some sharpening, some sharpening, contrast, blacks, texture. I used the brush. Mask, update, contrast adjustment, the color temperature in the mask mode, I guess. The tint. Then I deleted the brush. I didn't- then I used the radial gradient. I don't want to, I shouldn't have clicked on it. One second. Yeah, that's what I did. I changed the whole composition when I did the last rendition. Right, let me go back to this again. Okay, so where did I get that? Let me find it. Okay, I definitely, if it doesn't show up, I definitely went to add a radial there. Yeah, here I go. It's going too fast, that's why.
So when you're doing the actual editing, does your computer keep up with you, or do you have to do?
Normally, but I think because I'm on Zoom and I have a couple of 2 or 3 other things open, it's like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
like, give me a break. I think that's what's happening,
So the white lines, is that something that you shot or did you create those?
No, the original image had I guess the whole thing. Oh, here it is. Okay. Okay, so what you're seeing is I've gone to from that
Uh-huh.
the radial gradient. Actually, if you bear with me for 1 second, I'll get rid of a couple of things that I have open. And maybe it'll work faster because it's making me nuts. Whoops.
Mhm.
Okay, now it might work faster. I had a lot of stuff in there. Okay, so I'm just gonna. Yeah, okay. So somewhere would. Within this, I did. Wow. It's doing a number on me. It's changing it.
Not responding at all.
around. Or is it working in reverse? I'm sorry, I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
Let's go to this one.
Mhm. Yeah, between 80, 81, 82, are they the same item? You just colored differently?
Yes, these three. So, okay, so this was the. Okay, this was the beginning. And then I brought, I don't know which one I brought it into first. But I think I took it and went into Topaz and used one of the
Mm.
filters.
Ah,
Let's see. I did a lot of work on it. Let's see. I took out this line. Okay, I did a radial gradient and changed the temperature. I played around with that.
Mhm.
And also the saturation on the outside.
Mm.
I tried some temperature changes. And, darken this area through that. Texture. And that was that rendition. And then I did this rendition.
Mhm.
And I think it was from the last one that you saw, okay?
Mhm.
Yeah.
So your 84, 85 also from the same
No,
original photo? Not they're different.
they're different.
Okay.
Um,
So many of the examples you showed us today are, the main photographs started with some museum pieces somewhere, and then you work with them and make them look very different.
Yeah, well, here, as you can see, I went from that,
Yeah. Yeah.
I changed the feathering,
Yeah.
and I was able to get a different contour at that center circle.
Hmm.
Here's the highlights. The lights, contrast,
Hmm.
the background there. Exposure. And I think that was it on that.
Hmm.
What else would you like to say?
How about 53?
Not much to that. I had a cracked egg on a matte surface that I have that, we have like 6 of them for dinner. I think.
But who would have thought to take that picture?
That's the thing.
And okay, so this went through TIFF and I couldn't do. So just tell me one more time, Bob, what I should do a duplicate. I got it. Okay.
I'm sorry, Wayne?
No, I just remembered what you said about not losing the things that I worked on in Lightroom. But the interesting thing is I should be able to transition back to Lightroom from Topaz and still keep the rest of the information.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
what Topaz does is it actually does make a copy. It takes your original picture, and then it returns it, I think in the same format, or is it DNG, something like that, or a TIFF,
It's stiff.
a TIFF,
Yeah.
but with a slightly different name. But what I'm saying here is, if you wanted to to not lose what you've done, if you type command apostrophe,
Or go to photo, then say
Then
make
it
a
makes-
virtual copy.
yeah, but
Photo.
it's the same, it's a keyboard shortcut.
Yeah.
Command or control apostrophe makes a copy. And then you can do whatever you want with that.
So you'll save that, all those, in a different file.
Yeah, well, actually, in Lightroom, it doesn't, it keeps the original raw.
Yeah.
A copy is actually not really another raw image. A copy takes the basic information from the original image, and
Yeah.
then whatever text or whatever it uses to annotate your changes, that's what's in the copy. But what you see is a different picture.
If you work from Photoshop, you can access Topaz as a plugin, and that all that happens automatically.
It does in Lightroom also. Same thing.
Yeah. But it loses the history. So if you make a virtual copy, then it preserves the history.
Exactly. And you'll see.
But a virtual copy in Lightroom, you say?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
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 So there's two ways to do that.
But sometimes a lot of the changes I'm also making in Topaz,
Yeah, that will be in a different file then.
Right.
I
So
see.
it just so that you know, right now, go up to photo. And let's
Let's
see,
create virtual copy.
create virtual copy. Where is that?
Yeah, it's like a 4
Oh, there it
5
is. Yeah.
down.
About a third of the way down.
Yeah. Right.
Right.
Then it will create a copy.
And now
See?
you can abuse that as much as you want.
Yeah, right.
I see.
Yeah. And did you notice when you went up there that it showed on the right-hand side of that menu that there's a keyboard shortcut for that?
Mhm.
And it's just Command apostrophe.
I see.
So yeah, so there's ways to be non-destructive, and they're pretty important. And virtual copies don't take a lot of memory,
Yeah, that's what I understand.
because really, it's the alterations are basically just changed in a text file that that Lightroom can read.
Right.
And the original image is the original image, and it's actually never really touched.
So I'll just show you this. This is on the wall of the Met,
Uh,
in one of the areas. And I think it was at the Met. And so I mean, it originally looked like that,
Mhm.
right? And then I brought it into I did a lot of work on it. A lot of work.
Mhm.
So I brought that in. I just played around to see what would be interesting.
Mhm.
when the torch is outlined this way, it looks like she's holding a large potato.
Well, what happened was I added the exposure on her.
Hmm.
There's a lot of masking on this one.
Did you change the color or just bring that color out?
I kept on changing the color until I finally settled on that final one. So
Hmm.
there's slight variations in the tonality.
Yeah,
Yeah.
interesting.
I don't know what happened there. Let's see if it corrects itself. A lot of healing, different areas.
Mm.
I don't know what happened.
That's, yeah,
It's just taking a little longer.
right. It'll probably render eventually, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then, you know, just to show you, it's like, I'll be at the beach, okay? And, so I'm at the jetty, and that's what I see.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'll go through cropping it. Until it's that.
Hmm.
So the moral is shoot whatever catches your eye and worry about what it looks like when you get home.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then I didn't do very much to this particular piece. This walking down one of the walkways, it had plywood,
Sorry to interrupt
siding, and I just saw that image. And
Yeah.
That's super. I remember that.
Yeah, I remember that one. I think it's
the thing
showed
is
us
to-
last year.
No, and you know, I think I showed this one. This one had a lot of ambitions to get to it.
I do remember that. That was in a competition. And I remember
Yeah.
this too. You just
Yeah,
got to get
yeah.
it.
Because it started off like this. And I think this one also. I don't have the background. I think
That won an award, didn't it?
another rendition, the same thing. Okay, so here.
What is this?
So this was in Peekskill. There's a restaurant on Main Street, I forget the name of it. It has a copper bar. And so I said, wow, look at those droplets on there. It's almost like a face. I said, I could do something with that. So I worked it. Got rid of some of the spots, the blue tones. And added that. And I did that by taking pieces from there.
Boy.
And then I think I changed the shape at the end.
It looks like a face now.
Yeah.
The color is so cool.
Mm-hmm.
Start to crop it to what I like, shape wise. And yeah.
Great.
Wayne, can you look at 47?
I know that's your kind of thing. I think this was part of a large painting. Um, yeah, I just took a small snippet of it. This was fairly big, and this was maybe not more than a couple, 6 inches on this large painting. And so I said, I can do something with this. What can I do? So I cropped that out to focus. Um, not too much more. Let's see. Yeah, so I just changed the contrast and the exposure to get it down. I worked on some of the, took off all the whites and some of the black, moved up the texture, a little bit of clarity, after I shaped it to the form I wanted. And I think that was it. I didn't change the colorations on it.
Funny, it says body without.
Mhm.
Let's say we do 2 more, then we can close.
What is your 51? What is that thing?
Okay. That's a cabbage.
Ah,
I see now.
Which was fascinating to me anyway, because it was white, pretty much,
Yeah.
um, in our front
Yeah.
landscaping.
Just darken the background.
Change the contrast, a little bit of the exposure, spot removals. I would take this out, but
Yeah.
out of all of this surrounding. Until I got to and in some of these images, I don't know if you do that, but when I go back through it, I said, well, no, I don't like that anymore. I need to,
yeah,
right?
happens all the time.
Yeah.
That sort of brought me to that.
Hmm. Those last few steps made a huge change.
Right. Um, so this is a simple, interesting one. At the Met, that they had some kind of religious exhibition. And I saw these forms, but the original was that.
Hmm.
And when I got back, I said, I don't want to touch this. It's going to be not to my liking. But I worked at it, Um, the whites, the texture,
Yeah,
on the subject, more whites adjustment as I was going through it. I like the colorations on the or the movement on the screen itself, and be interesting just by itself. The platforms that they sit on. Yeah, so the last thing I did was straighten it out. So that's, for me, it turned out to be successful.
Mhm.
Okay, one more. Did anybody else have a number they want?
Pick one you like.
I wish I could see
Yeah,
one.
what about this 44? Yeah.
That. Okay, so that one, there wasn't a hell of a lot I had to do with it, but there was stuff. That was the shot.
And that's what?
It was in a shell. No, it was actually on the sand. It was a foam rainbow effect from the lighting of the sun
Ah.
on bubbles. I said, hurry and take this shot
Yeah.
before it gets either blown away or just dissipate. And so, okay, so I moved through I put some vignetting in to help intensify it. Some feathering, bringing out the imageries, you know. Change the exposure slightly. I guess I exported it again. The clarity, dehaze slightly. Texture, I up that. Work a little bit more on the vignetting. The highlights. And that's pretty much the end of it. I thought that was, one of the successful.
Mhm.
Just to show you, like on an architectural shot, how that got finalized. I think that was up in, I don't know if it's in Kent or one of those towns in Connecticut. So the original was that.
Hmm.
I could have, did a whole thing with keeping most of it, but I thought it was more interesting to
Yeah.
crop and updating some spots. I came in closer on the horizontal walkway. Yeah. And increase the contrast, highlights the whites, exposure, intensifying it a little bit more in clarity, behaves. Yeah, so I spent a lot of time on it. But it's a really interesting shot. Last one. Okay, Home Depot.
Huh.
Home roll or something.
This was the import. A little bit light. I mean, soft. So let's see where we go with this. Cropping, contrast. Trying to bring out some of the, the circle. Taking the clarity up. Behaves. Then I worked on some spot removals. Crop. A little bit of cropping. Okay. So then I did that, right? That's it. And
All
I
right.
said,
Yeah.
what do I want to do next with that?
Mm.
So let's do this. There was another one that I worked on.
Yeah.
But that's from the same picture?
No,
Oh,
this is another one that I lost that same kind of background in tip. I mean in topaz. Yeah. So I went through pretty much the same procedure, except in this one, I used the vignetting around the outer surface before I brought it to topaz.
hmm.
And I also clarified the interior of all of this by using the exposure and the highlighting and the whites and the texture and the clarity to bring out all of those features. Yeah. That's it. So I hope that you saw some of
Yeah, thank you so much.
what I see. It's just a matter of getting out of your comfort zone and saying, I'm taking a picture of this animal or bird or whatever, but what's surrounding it that is also interesting? Maybe it's a post and a fence is looking beyond what you think you're going to shoot. I never go out to say, well, I'm going to shoot this.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. That was fantastic.
Thank you for bearing with
Very
me
inspiring.
Yeah.
Thank
with some of the technical issues.
I would, Wayne, the thing that got me is that none of the manipulations that you made are that sort of fancy or, they're not foreign to me, but what you did with them.
Yeah.
So it goes way beyond seeing what you see, but then bringing out more and more of what you see there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Using the tool, any of us can use those tools.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Taking advantage of whatever caught your eye and emphasizing it. Yep.
And so have a drink or two and
Right.
I'm not doing that, but I'm just saying to get out of your comfort zone.
I was thinking peyote, but that's
Good.
Yeah.
Well,
Thanks everyone for joining me.
Thank you.
Thank
thank
Wayne.
you.